Hi, I'm Kim Colley with Informa Connect Food Service, and I'm here with Josh Gurley, Vice President of Digital Capabilities for Restaurants with Coca-Cola. Josh, thanks so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm really excited about this conversation.
Yeah, me too. So there is so much going on in the digital space with restaurants, and it might be hard to prioritize for some operators, but why is this a strategy they really need to be focused on?
Yeah, it's a great starting point just to make sure we're all talking about the right thing. Oftentimes we're talking about technology and digital in restaurants, and that's the topic. Ultimately, I think the topic is what's the consumer doing? And the consumer is telling us this is a channel, this is a modality that they have to prioritize. And so we're not only looking at that for now, but in the future, and I'll kind of break it down that way. But right now, what we know is there's 61% of Americans are ordering food digitally at least once a week. That's wild when you think about the penetration, because I think the typical thought process is that this is only a Gen Z ordering channel and it's sizzly, but no, this is becoming pervasive behavior that we have to make sure that we're working towards. But then on the flip side, if today almost 1 in 5 transactions for a restaurant comes through a digital ordering channel, your own app, third-party delivery, any of that, to what we believe is that's going to double or even triple by 2035. And so we're looking around the horizon, not skating to a puck that exists, but it's a moving puck that we're skating towards, where we believe that restaurant sales could be, digital restaurant sales, 35 to 50% of total restaurant sales in just the next decade.
Yeah, wow, that's a lot. So how would a restaurant operator capitalize on some of those consumer trends?
Yeah, so there are a couple of ways. First, I'd be remiss to not mention that we want to be by their side, right? We pride ourselves on being the most valuable partner that our restaurant partners can lean on, and so we created something within our customer value and growth team that we call Coke Digital Dine. And so it's this general framework where we talk about insights, optimization, innovation to help them with the future of digital and technology. That goes to everything from ordering and loyalty to how they use technology to operationalize their restaurant. So that's where I would think is, as these innovations happen, leverage your partners. Maybe it's us, maybe it's an existing technology network, so that they can actually think about where the puck is going for their own given digital maturity. And so everybody that works with our restaurant partners has access to the tools and resources. So reach out to your Coca-Cola representative, and then our hope is to provide that to them in real time. Not only what's happening today and how to help them tangibly grow their business, but to know what's coming in the future so that we can work together to actually make sure that they're prepared for that digital enabled future.
For sure. Yeah. Now, talking about the future, AI is the buzzword right now.
Yeah.
Is there anything Coke is doing or anything out there restaurateurs should be wary of or excited for when it comes to the AI space?
What we're finding is that it started as this thing that people like to play with, right? Everybody's familiar with tools like ChatGPT, but ultimately what now AI is allowing us to do, because there's a couple of clicks deeper than this high level term of AI, you have machine learning, large language models, and cloud computing, all these things that are now coming into what AI can mean for a restaurant. And what I believe and what we're already seeing is that the capability is not now just how we personalize orders, which is a huge focus for us right now, which we'll get to, but it's fundamentally changing every role within a restaurant, whether it's an office and a center location role, or if it's out in the restaurant and how the food is made to how people are engaging with the operator. And so some of the ways that we're seeing that right now get prioritized, I mentioned hyper-personalization. That's a can't miss, right? And everybody's talking about it. The challenge is, while there's generative AI that can help on that, there's not a lot of foundational data infrastructure that people have to be able to lean in and make the most of these new and emerging AI tools. So what we're talking to operators about is, A, how do you use AI and machine learning specifically to structure your data that prepares you for a hyper-personalized expectation that the consumer already has, but they're telling us is an unmet need. And then once you have that structure, how can you use the tools that are out there in the modern world to analyze that data in real time, right? Machine learning can take years of transaction data, talk millions and millions of records, and distill it into actionable ideas and processes that can actually be deployed at the store level. That's what we have to help our operators work towards. It's not this thing that helps them just order at the drive-thru or order over the phone, which is exciting. These are things we also want to focus on, but there's underlying aspects of AI that the consumer should never see, but it makes the experience better.
Well, are there any other consumer trends out there that restaurateurs should be paying attention to?
Yeah, there's a couple of things that I would think about. First is we talked about this future world that could be 35 to 50% digital in restaurants. Again, that goes back to the behavior of the consumer. And what's interesting is we're going to need to watch this consumer over time. What we believe is by 2035, 2/3 of buying behavior or spending power will be in the hands of folks that grew up digitally native. And what are the implications of that, right? These are hyper-connected individuals. They've always been connected. They live in a digital-first world, and their expectations are changing. And so there are all these, I mentioned these shiny objects that are out there. We want to think about, well, they're looking at not just restaurant versus restaurant in these ordering experiences. They're looking at a digital restaurant experience versus Amazon or their favorite retailer otherwise, or a game that they play or a social media outlet, and then they come into an ordering environment to get a burger or a sandwich, and they're underwhelmed. Mm-hmm. So when you know that they're hyper connected, that tells me I've got opportunity to connect with you outside of just the order, but it also says once I get you in my funnel, I better make sure that's a good experience.
Definitely. It's a crazy, ever-changing world out there.
Yeah.
I'm glad that people have you to guide them. Thank you so much for joining us today, and I hope you have a great rest of the event.
Thank you very much. Excited to be here.
Awesome. Thanks.